correspondent Mark Austin is in Beijing tonight.
President Clinton is walking a diplomatic tightrope here. He wants to build a new relationship with China, but he's also under pressure to make the point forcefully on human rights. He had another opportunity today, addressing students at Beijing University.
It was students from this university who led the pro-democracy demonstrations in 1989. No mention of the Tiananmen Square crackdown today, but as activists report another dissident arrest, the president, in a speech broadcast live across the country, chided China again on human rights.
We are convinced that certain rights are universal. The birthrights of people everywhere. The right to express one's opinions, to choose one's own leaders.
But then came the questions from students who fired back at the president.
Do you think in the United States today there are also some problems in the area of democracy, freedom and human rights?
We are still not perfect. I always say that.
We watched the broadcast with students who said America should do more to understand a China that was slowly changing.
Every people are looking for democracy and freedom, human rights. But we're getting better and better. It's a changing world now.
But President Clinton has had a warm reception here and believes his policy of engaging China and not isolating it is paying off.
But the real test of President Clinton's approach on China is what happens in the future. How much political freedom will be allowed here? How much will this country really change? Mark Austin, News at 10, Beijing.
We have more top stories still to come on News at 10 tonight. The village bracing itself for a flood of visitors to Diana's grave. Plus, Henman goes through at Wimbledon, but it's disappointment for English hopes in the ladies' competition. Signing up for the New Deal, the government's plans to help the over-25s back to work. The late goal that decides who England play if they beat Argentina. And on the road with the England fans, a special report from France on the life with the travelling supporters.
Quiet, please. Play.
Erase all the borders and start in your head. Open your mind to thoughts seldom said. Open your eyes and open your mind. Open your thoughts and don't stay behind. Nescafe. Open up, open up. Nescafe.
Look out, the Twizzlers are coming.
Buckle up, kids. It's Twizzlers.
Bernard Matthews' new Twizzlers. They're delicious turkey and pork spirals coated in a tangy tomato sauce with a taste that'll just blow you away. Look out for Twizzlers from Bernard Matthews.
This week, Tesco are cutting the price of all packs in the barbecue meat range by 20%. But hurry, they won't be around forever.
Was not available for comment. We've just heard the World Cup has been cancelled.
Yes.
No! Come on!
Yeah, he's watching it too.
Never mind. While he's watching the football, 90 minutes of chat's just £1.35 with BT.
As a denture wearer, do you see fresh ripe tomatoes or annoying pips? Delicious warm crusty bread or a really tough challenge? Does your palate say yes, but your plate say no? Now you can eat what you like with new Polygrip Ultra. It's the strongest holding cream fixative you can buy and keeps out all those irritating bits of food. So now when your palate says yes, your plate can say yes. 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 New unbeatable Polygrip Ultra and Polygrip Fresh. Perfect on any plate.
Miss Millie's Soccer Mega Meal. 6 pieces of tasty chicken and 2 large chips for only $4.99. Miss Millie's. Great chicken, great value.
Enjoy one of Nescafe's great tasting coffees.
Nescafe.
Welcome back. Britain's Tim Henman is through to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon for the 3rd year running. The number 12 seed put out Australia's Pat Rafter, the number 6 seed and the current US Open champion, in 4 sets. But the last British woman, Sam Smith, is out. She lost to Nathalie Tauzier of France. Here's our sports reporter Peter Staunton.
Tim Henman was facing his toughest challenge so far. Against the 6th seed Pat Rafter, a player who loves to attack the net, the current US champion was strongly fancied to reach yet another Grand Slam final. Today, though, Henman got off to a flyer. The first break of serve was his. The first set followed soon afterwards. Rafter hit back immediately, winning the second set tie-break.
German second set, Rafter.
Today, though, Henman kept his concentration. He'd made hard work of his first 3 matches. This one he finished with clinical efficiency. But after 2 consecutive failures in the quarterfinals, Henman isn't thinking yet of Sunday's final.
If I win 3 more matches, then I'll win it. I don't know. I'm enjoying it, and you know, I'll keep playing and play whoever wins that match, and you know, I feel confident with the way I'm playing.
Sam Smith couldn't repeat her performance of Saturday. Despite some spirited defence, the first British woman to reach the 4th round for 13 years was beaten in 2 sets by France's Nathalie Tauzier.
I just went out there to try and play my game, to do the best I could, and that's what I did. I gave it my best shot, and, you know, she was too good for me.
Tonight, Tim Henman left in a hurry, keen to avoid the pressure for as long as possible. Tomorrow's a rest day for Tim Henman, but on Wednesday he's back, weather permitting, to face Peter Corder, the number 3 seed. Peter Staunton, News at 10, Wimbledon.
The government's policy of actively helping the young, long-term unemployed to find work was extended today to those over 25. They too will now get advice, training and grants. Although unlike the under 25s, they won't have the benefit stopped if they don't take part, or at least not yet. Our political correspondent Jackie Ashley reports.
With several big employers, including B&Q, signing up to the New Deal today, the government hopes to get 200,000 unemployed people back to work over the next year. Employers who take them on will receive £75 a week. The New Deal will now affect over 25s who've been out of work for 2 years or more. They'll be offered advice and help in job hunting and given training. But unlike the under 25s, their benefits will not be stopped if they refuse to cooperate. At least not yet. That's likely to happen later this year. But so far, the idea has won approval among those looking for jobs.
Instead of you staying at home, right? I mean, you get an opportunity for you to get trained. And somebody who is trained is better than somebody who is not.
And to come in time after time and look at the notices on the board and see the same old jobs and go for the same old interview, I think it's really difficult. So I think motivation is a huge thing with when you're signing on, because you really need to have a support.
Employment managers are pleased with the results of the scheme for the under 25s, but foresee new problems now.
I don't think it will be easier, but I think the problems are different. What we've got to do here is to help people get remotivated, try and find what's best for them and help them into it.
40% of the under 25s who've been on the New Deal programme have found permanent full-time jobs at the end of it. But it may not be so easy for the over 25s. There are more of them, and with the economy slowing down, there may not be as many jobs available. Jackie Ashley, News at 10 in South London.
A judge decided today not to jail a woman who admitted helping her elderly mother to die. Gillian Jennison, on the left here, was given 12 months probation at Leeds Crown Court. She'd helped her mother, who was suffering from dementia, to take sleeping tablets and then smothered her with a pillow. Now back to the World Cup, and for our special report tonight, we've gone behind the scenes with the fans travelling to see England play. ITN teams followed the fans throughout the weekend and found that before last Friday's match in Lens, those who wanted to buy alcohol could do so despite the ban. And for those with money, there were plenty of tickets. But Colin Baker's report starts with the supporters who still found themselves watching from the outside.
From Wakefield to Flanders, to a corner of a foreign field, and there to wait for 90 minutes for an English victory and know nothing about it.
It's emotional, you know what I mean? We're stood out here, England Travel Club members, and we can't get tickets. And we want to be in there, really. We want to be in there, supporting your country, really.
On the campsites outside Lens, in fact anywhere the English could park a sleeping bag, the problem was not the lack of alcohol, but the shortage of match tickets. Come anyway, the French had said, it's carnival time. And so a band from Derbyshire gave the townsfolk of Lens a pre-match warm-up, and one or two of the early arrivals hoped that their team would play even better. The Colombians, though, won the fashion stakes. Bolsover met Bogota, and Millwall met Medellin, and the atmosphere of the day was, for most, to be the flavour of the night. Those who preferred their atmosphere canned stayed in Lille, less than 1 hour's drive away, outside the alcohol-free zone of Lens. Noisy and sometimes unruly, and always never far from British police spotters searching out those they wished had stayed home. With a limited but noisy repertoire, these fans had no problem drinking their way into Lens, the alcohol purchased either at duty-free shops or locally the day before the beer ban came in. Few had match tickets, but before the kick-off, at least 14,000 English supporters had been able to buy on the black market. Some tickets were sold by Colombians. Only those who throw bottles know why they throw bottles. This was an isolated incident in Lens, caused by a tiny proportion of the many thousands of English in town, and was dealt with quickly by the police, who made sure there was no repetition. Finding a space at a coffee bar window to watch the game on television was almost as difficult as finding a ticket. Commentaries were delayed and sometimes confused. 20 minutes into the game, it was plain what all the shouting was about.
Well, this is as close as most of the fans are going to get without paying up to £200 to £300 for tickets from touts. And as you may have gathered, England have just scored.
And then they scored again, and then there was the final whistle. A conga for the victors, but ultimately a victory for the common sense of the vast majority of both sets of fans who left side by side, after exchanging shirts, of course. Going home to the New Forest may be a long journey, but they had their match memories for company, never to be forgotten.
One of the best experiences of my life, footballing experiences of my life. Absolutely brilliant atmosphere. And, well, I recommend it to anyone. Don't take any notice of people. Get out there, support your country. It's brilliant.
And so off to the ferry. But a couple of hours later they did something they hope England won't do tomorrow. They missed the boat. Colin Baker, News at 10, Lens.
In today's matches, Germany looked at one stage this afternoon to be heading out of the competition. They were 1-0 down to Mexico, but goals from Klinsmann and Beerhoff gave them a 2-1 win. And Holland beat Yugoslavia by the same score with goals from Bergkamp and Davids. Our sports correspondent Graham Miller reports from France.
The temperature was nearing 100 degrees in Montpellier for Germany against Mexico. Too hot for Heinrich to keep his boots on. Germany found the going tough early on. Tarner's shot brought a good save from Campos, but they couldn't break through. Normally, Beerhoff knocks in chances like these with one eye closed, but not today. It was Mexico who took the lead early in the second half. Hernandez put through, and the man with the long golden hair did the rest. His fourth hit in this World Cup. Germany, the three-time champions, looked in danger of going out at the earliest stage for 20 years before Klinsmann pounced, a real captain's effort. And with just 4 minutes left, the European champions and comeback kings did it again. Bierhoff with a fierce header this time to take the Germans into the quarter-finals against either Romania or Croatia. Toulouse was a sea of orange for Holland's game with Yugoslavia, but before this move there was little colour in the game. Dennis Bergkamp put Holland one up, and we thought that was that. But the second half found the Dutch napping in defence. Komljenovic was unmarked for the Yugoslav equaliser, and suddenly we had a game on our hands. They should have taken the lead 5 minutes later when Stam, the new Man United man, gave away a penalty. Only for Mijatovic to hit the bar. And Bergkamp was more than fortunate to stay on the pitch after a dangerous follow-through. But only Merkovic, the victim, was booked. The Dutch began to take charge but had to wait until injury time to get the winner. Edgar Davids the scorer seconds before the end. Holland now wait the outcome of England-Argentina. So with Holland and Germany showing the way to do it, tomorrow it's England's turn to go for glory in the World Cup. Their aim, a place in the quarter-finals on Saturday. Graham Miller, News at 10, Paris.
Tonight's headlines again. Police say they hope there won't be any repeat of today's violence when the Stephen Lawrence inquiry resumes tomorrow. There were scuffles this morning when members of a black activist group tried to force their way into the hearing. And the Northern Ireland Parades Commission has ruled that next week's Orange Order March must avoid the Gavaki Road in Portadown. Finally, the Northamptonshire village of Great Brington is bracing itself. On Wednesday, Earl Spencer opens the gates of Althorpe and the Diana Memorial Museum to the public. That will mean even more cars, coaches and commotion, and the villagers are dreading it. Norman Rees has been to Great Brington to hear what they had to say, or rather, what they didn't.
They're arriving by the coachload. Princess Diana's grave hasn't yet opened to the public, but already tourists are invading the tiny village where she spent her childhood.
We just feel we're close to the late Princess Diana, you know, to just be around this area and where she sort of grew up and so forth.
The Spencer family have been lords of the manor here at Great Brington for almost 500 years. The village has one pub, one church and one shop come post office.
Which are your best sellers?
Of Diana. There's 2 sets of 5, that one there, and that one there, which we sell loads and loads.
All this and a commemorative stamp has brought a boom in business.
Yeah.
Americans are also making pilgrimages to see where Princess Diana's buried and also where her family is buried.
But when Althorpe House opens to visitors, the lives of the villagers will change even more dramatically. The island grave of Princess Diana will attract 2,500 people a day. Locals think it's a threat to village life. The determination of the villagers to retain their privacy is best illustrated by what's happening here. They're preparing, literally, to barricade themselves in. During visiting hours, these 2 sets of gates will block the road between Althorpe and Great Brington. The villagers are closing ranks.
I wonder if we could talk to you about the opening of the Memorial Museum to Princess Diana.
I don't want to say anything about it.
I'd really rather not talk to you. It's been a complete invasion of, our privacy.
There was a report that the parish council has advised people not to talk to the press at all.
Yes, that has been said, yes. It's just that it's a protective thing again. We want to protect the village.
It's the quiet English beauty of this place that Diana loved as a child. The villagers are determined to keep it that way. Norman Rees, News at 10, Great Brington.
That's News at 10 tonight. Until tomorrow, from all of us here, good night.
Hello, good evening. Well, there is a little bit of summer on the way, but don't get too excited. We are expecting a return to unsettled conditions by the end of the week. As for tomorrow, well, our Met Office wind flow chart here shows low pressure in the North Sea firmly in charge, and that's the weather front bringing rain tonight. So straight away, let's pick up on this rain. Very wet overnight across the southern part of the country there. Very hefty bursts from time to time. Some showers in the far northwest, a lot of dry weather, some clear slots, and at least temperatures are fairly mild. Going into tomorrow morning, and we can see the remnants of that overnight rain in the southeastern corner and along eastern fringes. The very best of the dry and bright weather for the western half of the country, and then that showery scene for the eastern half. During the course of the day, the bulk of the rain moves away, becomes faintly brighter than the east, but still showery with it, and again some hefty showers from time to time. And temperatures are no great shakes at all, a high of 20, and that's only 68 in Fahrenheit. But generally speaking, for most of the country, coming in at around 17 or 18, 17 is a rather disappointing 63. That's all from me. I leave you with our weather summary.
Power Gen. Generating electricity whatever the weather.
Imagine winning the 24-hour Le Mans endurance race 7 times. Imagine reassuring reliability and real peace of mind. This is the new face of Jaguar. Jaguar. Don't dream it, drive it.
Here's a team that's earned a drink.
Is that alright, Mum? You know where the fridge is. Today we've got orange juice, cola, some herbal stuff, and a huge Sunny Delight.
Sunny Delight, yeah.
It's got orange tangerine and lime. And a load of that vitamin stuff too. Going, Dad, do you think we could call Mum in another?
Oh, cheers, she's great, your Mum.
Come on, give me some of that.
New Sunny Delight. The great stuff kids go for.
Do you know the first meal I ever cooked for Jerry? Prawn cocktail to start, black forest gatto to finish, and a very juicy steak. Well, I thought I'd try and rekindle the flames. He does love a decent steak.
Your local Somerfield has great prices on a superb choice of fresh meat, and butchers in store who make it all easy by preparing it just the way you like.
Mum, I can't sleep.
Oh, yes, you can, sweetheart.
Whatever rate you speak at, make sure it's the cheapest. Vodafone's new off-peak rate is just 5p a minute. For the cheapest digital national off-peak calls, the word is Vodafone.
You don't come to Venice every day, and to see it all, you've got to move around. Though before, if I was on holiday and it was that time of the month, I wouldn't have felt comfortable running around. Not anymore, though. Not since I've started using New Always.
Always introduce a new kind of wing. Flexi wings. They have these flexible edges that stretch with your underwear, helping the pads stay put, however much you move around.
So now, whatever time of the month, the only thing that can spoil my holiday is running out of film. Coming!
New Always with Flexi wings. Designed to stay put, so you don't have to.
HTV's late news for the West now. Good evening. A man's been found dead at the Glastonbury Festival site. He was discovered this afternoon in a tent. Police are appealing for anyone who may have information to come forward. Meanwhile, there's been chaos as the final revellers trying to leave the muddy site.
The body of a 25-year-old man was discovered at 2 o'clock this afternoon in the area known as the Teepee Field. A post-mortem has yet to be carried out, but it's thought he died from a drugs overdose. People staying in the field say it's a family area.
Totally against the grain of the whole atmosphere in the Teepee Field. You know, it was all families and kids and pretty jolly communal spirit.
With the party over, the 600-acre site has become even more of a quagmire. The muddy ground churned by on-site vehicles queuing for up to 5 hours to get out. Many had to be towed, including the HTV truck. The worst job, though, picking up the rubbish. Police arrested 200 people, including 60 for selling drugs, but said the vast majority of the 100,000-strong crowd were well behaved.
People are keen to come and enjoy themselves, and I think generally, despite the weather, this has been a successful festival from that point of view, and we have been able to take action against that small element who are here to ruin it for everybody else.
Medics helped nearly 3,000 people. Some even had a mild form of trench foot, a condition normally associated with waterlogged First World War trenches. But despite contracting a severe chest infection, this girl was determined to come back next year.
Was it all worth it?
Yeah, I'm coming back again. It's my first time and I'm definitely coming back.
Michael Evis's farm looks as if a bomb has hit it. Despite the mud, everyone we spoke to had had a good time. It's the biggest musical event of its kind in the world, and they're already planning next year.
In the day's other news, a Bristol man has been arrested as part of an investigation into allegations of physical and sexual abuse at a children's home. The 46-year-old is being questioned along with a 56-year-old man from Penarth near Cardiff. It's in connection with allegations surrounding the treatment of former residents of the Headlands home in Penarth, which was run by the National Children's Homes. A man has been airlifted to hospital after becoming trapped in machinery at a Gloucestershire sawmill. Fire crews had to release him from a conveyor at Woodgate sawmills near Colford. The 29-year-old, who hasn't been named, suffered serious injuries to his right arm. An air ambulance flew him to Frenchay Hospital near Bristol, where he's now in a poorly but stable condition. The accident is being investigated by health and safety officials. The families of 2 West Country aid workers have issued a fresh appeal for their release a year after they were kidnapped. Camilla Carr and John James had gone to Chechnya to look after orphans. They were kidnapped by masked gunmen and little's been heard of them since. Now their relatives are setting off on a cycle ride to London to raise awareness of their plight. They're cycling from Ross-on-Wye to Downing Street and expect to arrive by Friday. Police have launched a new appeal for help in finding the body of a South Gloucestershire woman. Anne Myring disappeared from her home in Stoke Gifford a year ago. Her husband, Brian Myring, was later charged with her murder, but a body hasn't yet been found. Police searched the family house and are now asking local people for any information that may help their inquiries. Her family say they accept she's no longer alive, but can't grieve until her body is recovered. On a happier note, to a rather fishy story, have you heard the one about the fish and chip shop owner called Mr. Haddock? Believe it or not, it's true, and what's more, he's now selling his shop to, wait for it, Mr. Fry.
It's a sizzling story about money, potatoes and silly names. After 30 years in the business, the chips were down for Mr. Haddock. The heat of trade was getting to the Highworth trader. He was looking to place his name somewhere else, but all was not lost. After several offers, a dream buyer stirred the emotions.
My dad's always been in the fast food business, and I couldn't believe it when he first came home and said his name was Mr. Haddock. I thought it was something of a joke to start with.
All the way through, it's always been a joke. Just myself in the business, with a name like Haddock. And, over the years, there's always been little funny incidents about it.
The deal received a good soaking from customers who welcomed it with open arms.
Well, very apt, isn't it? So the name is really funny, yes, and it's quite ironic that it's gone from Fried to Haddock, yeah?
Well, it's 1 in a million, isn't it?
And, why do you think it was so funny?
Well, both concerned with fish and chips, you'd never see it again.
The question now is what will happen next to the West's best-named businessman. Will he be bought out by a Mr. Batter? Well, only time will tell. John Ramos, HTV News, Highworth.
Old ones are the best. Finally, a group of 36 football-mad youngsters from the West Country have tonight begun the trip of a lifetime. They set off to watch England's World Cup match against Argentina in Saint Etienne. The couple had hoped to get tickets for last Friday's England-Colombia match, but found out at the last minute that they hadn't been allocated them. But today, they were told that they'd instead be given seats for the England-Argentina match from the 2,000 available to England fans. Sure, we'll have a great time. That's it from us tonight. We're back in the morning in GMTV from 6:10. The West Tonight returns tomorrow night. For now, bye-bye.
HTV Weather, sponsored by Stay Bright Windows. The clear choice in any weather.
Hello, well, it's been another grey Monday as June starts to draw to a close. Surprise, surprise. And as for the rest of the week, showery at first, but drier by the end of the week, hopefully. No chance of a heat wave, though, with the northwest winds keeping temperatures around the average or below. Well, at least it was better yesterday for the celebrity endurance ride in Cirencester Park in aid of the Cancer Research Campaign. My horse loved it and was fine after the 15-mile race, but I have to admit to being a little saddle sore today. Still good to meet so many of you and learn more about the sport. Well, the latest scene from the satellite shows another area of low pressure and its associated front scooting across southern Britain in time for tonight and tomorrow. But that rain should have cleared during tomorrow morning for the tennis to leave an afternoon of sunny spells and some isolated showers. Well, a cloudy start to the night for us with outbreaks of rain, this pulling away eastwards by dawn. So it should be a mostly dry start to Tuesday with some good sunny periods around. You'll find some patchy cloud building up later, and this may bring along some scattered showers in time for the afternoon on the light northwest breeze. The best of the brightness staying in the south with temperatures rising to an exciting 18 or 19 Celsius. Now, a quick peek and gossip about the rest of the week. Low pressure to the east of Britain means a northerly breeze and scattered showers mainly in the east and the odd elusive sunny spells. Things start to look up a bit by Thursday, though, with high pressure to the west keeping most places dry, but not scorching. Temperatures only around 19 or 20 Celsius. By Friday, most places still dry with a mixture of sunny spells and cloud brought in on that northwesterly breeze. Well, that's it. I'm off to soak my aching limbs in a bubble bath now. From myself and the rest of your weather team, good evening to you.
The HTV 7-day weather line 0336 41 40 40. HTV Weather, sponsored by Stay Bright Windows. The clear choice in any weather.
Next on HTV, Jim Rosenthal looks back at today's second round World Cup matches.
With the harvest come mysterious events.
Corn circles might cause disturbed or erratic behaviour.
Around here we've got odd events on the hour, every hour.
You very old rapist!
Spotted dick, anybody?
Corn Devils, Wednesday 10:45 on HTV.
BT tests millions of lines every night. So tomorrow, they'll be working perfectly. BT, working for you every minute of the day.
Go on then. Come on, hurry up, the match is gonna start. Come on. All right. Oh,
good evening from ITV's Paris studio. This time tomorrow we'll know if England have upset the odds or been knocked out of the World Cup by Argentina again. Here on Encore we value your opinions. Get in touch by fax or email on the usual numbers. And discussing England's chances tonight, we've got Bobby Robson, England manager for 8 years, including 2 World Cups. Terry Venables, his England team was a kick away from the European Championship final. And there's Ruud Gullit in the Encore front three for the first time, and it's great to have you with us, Ruud. And with Ruud here, we're going to be talking about Holland later. The Dutch have been in action tonight against Yugoslavia, and eavesdropping on a meeting of legends.